Lesson 5.3, Adding Fractions. The main focus of this lesson is for you to be able to solve fraction number stories, to be able to share and discuss solutions to fraction number stories, and then to talk about those strategies. But first, let's start with our mental math and fluency. Dartriana has 5 beads. Kennedy has 7 times as many beads as Dartriana. How many beads does Kennedy have? Right away, I hope you're noticing that it says 7 times as many beads as Dartriana. Well, how many beads did Dartriana have? 5. So 7 times 5 is 35. Please pay special attention that how we are labeling our units now. We're making sure that we have our units labeled at the end so we know for sure what is it Kennedy needed or had? 35 beads. It's very important at this point that you're remembering to do that. Please read this part to yourself again as I read it out loud. And it says, Radhika ate a third of a small peach tart. Brianna ate a third of another peach tart that was the same size. Together, how much peach tart did they eat? And draw a picture to help you solve the number story. Well, I'm going to draw Radhika ate a small peach tart. What did it say Brianna ate? Another peach tart that was the same size. Okay, so I need another one. Same size. So I'm trying my best here, kids. And it says they each ate a third. Well, 4 o'clock and 8 o'clock, if this was 12 o'clock, on a clock would be about there. So I know that I'm dividing them into 3 equal pieces then. If each girl ate a third of their peach, how much did they eat or consume? I would take 1/3. This is my equation. Plus 1/3. Now I did what Radhika ate and I did what Brianna ate. Remember, we never add the bottoms together. We just bring it down and carry it forward and we add the 2 on top. So my answer is 2/3. So when Enrique ate a third of that small peach tart and Brianna ate a third of it, together, did the girls eat 2/3 of a peach tart in this number story too? Why or why not? If you look at the drawings, and this is how carefully we have to read, if Radhika ate a third of a small peach tart and Brianna ate a third of a large peach tart, together they did not eat 2/3 of a peach tart. Why or why not? One thing is because they're not the same size. In order for us to say that they ate 2/3 of a peach tart, they would both have to have the same size thirds that they ate of a peach. And this one is definitely smaller than the other. Now let's look at this next problem. Cassie's teacher assigned 12 math problems for homework. Cassie finished 3/12 of the problems at school. She solved 2/12 when she got home from school. What fraction of the problems has Cassie solved so far? Well, again, you should be looking if she started out with 3/12 and solved 2/12 when she got home. 3 plus 2 is 5, and the denominators stay the same. So 5/12 of the problems, because that's what it asks. What fraction of the problems did Cassie solve? Well, then what is the whole? Remember, that answer can be found at the very first sentence in this problem. Cassie's teacher assigned 12 math problems. So what was the whole? The 12 math problems, and that's what we would have filled in. Solve the number story on the screen and the next one, but try to use a different strategy for each one. Ryan and his 3 sisters painted the walls of their family room. Ryan used 2/3 of a can of paint. Each of his sisters used a third of the same size can. How much paint did they all use together? So we can do this two different ways. We can do the number model way. We can draw it out. It says fill in the whole box. Sometimes it's confusing what the whole is. But if we look at this, it says that he used 2/3 of a can of paint. So I know my whole is going to be the words a can of paint. So you need to copy that and you need to write that in the whole box here. It says how much paint did they use all together? Well, I'm going to draw. First, Ryan used 2/3 of a can. So I'm going to draw a can of paint just by a circle. I'm going to cut it into thirds again. You should know that it's by 4 and 8. And I'm going to cut in 2/3 of that. You should be doing this also in your math journal, page 159. If you need to pause the recording now, do that and turn to that page. If not, you can watch me finish this complete problem and then rewind the recording and then watch it again when you try to solve it. This is Ryan. So I'm going to put an R for Ryan. And I know that he did 2/3. Next, it says his 3 sisters did a third. Okay, so here's 1 for 1 sister, 2 for 2 sisters, 3 for 3 sisters. Imagine and use your imagination that these are perfectly cut in thirds and that the circles are exactly the same size. So, sister 1 used a third, sister 2 used a third, and sister 3 used a third. What kind of number model would I show for that? Well, for Ryan's, I would put 2/3 because that's what he used, plus sister 1's a third, sister 2's a third, sister 3's a third. Equals, well, 1/3 plus 1/3 plus 1/3 is 3/3, which equals 1 whole can. And then I still have Ryan's 2/3 here yet to add on to that. So how much did they use in all? 1 2/3 cans of paint. Or I could have went thirds on the bottom because they all had 3 as the denominator. And I could have added 2, 3, 4, 5. So if you notice here, 1 2/3 and 5/3 equals exactly the same thing because 3 out of 3/3 equals that 1 whole, and there would have been 2/3 left over. Again, this is Math Journal, page 159. Please complete Math Journal, page 159, and then bring it up to me. This is an ACI, an assessment check-in. I want to see how you complete the rest of the page. Pause the recording now, and please do that. Again, please read this following problem to yourself silently as I read it aloud. It says, Molly's cookie recipe calls for 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 3/4 cup of milk, and 2/4 cup of oil. Molly said, I can add the fractions 1/4 plus 3/4 and 2/4 to find the total amount of liquid needed for the recipe. Do you agree with Molly? Explain why or why not. This one you're really going to have to understand a little bit about cooking. 1/4 of a teaspoon is way different than 3/4 a cup of milk. We would have to have, even though the denominators are the same, they are not equivalent in their measure. Remember back to the peach? As long as the peaches were the same size, we could add the thirds that were being eaten by the 2 girls. The same goes for here. 1/4 a teaspoon is way smaller than 3/4 of a cup. When you compare a cup to a cup, you can see that 3/4 is going to be larger than 2/4. But in order for us to be able to add the teaspoon in, that would have to be considered a cup, which would be almost impossible. So we actually would have to break the cups down into teaspoons. It's a very difficult problem to answer, and to just say, yes, I can simply add them is incorrect. Shading grids to show the decimal. Zero and 73/100. Well, hopefully you're remembering that there's 10 in each column, so it'd be 10, 20, 30, let me click that off, 40, and I'm not taking it all the way down because I don't want to disrupt the bar below, 50, 60, and again 70, and finally 3, 1, 2, 3. Make sure when you're taking these all the way to the top of the bottom that I can tell that you are including those end boxes for that total. And now 0 and 4/10. This time you should be thinking of the longs. So you would be laying 4 of them on here. So 4/10 would be 4 longs. And remember, I didn't take this all the way down in the bar to complete it. Please turn to Math Journal page 161 again. And that's exactly what I was doing with 73/100 and 4/10. Complete this page. Go ahead and take it back to the Math Journal answer key. Correct it. If there are any on there that you got wrong, please bring it over to me so that I can double check it for your misunderstanding and can show you how to do it the right way. And then turn the recording back on for your final instruction. Pause the recording now, please. I wanted to take a look at this problem. It says Roger wants to build a square display case out of teak wood. The outside frame is made of boards that are 28 inches long. The 2 shelves are each 27 inches long. The store has 175 inches of teak wood available. Does the store have enough? And how are you going to figure out this answer? Well, remember, you're going to have to use your multiplication and addition skills. So you have 28 times 2 plus the inside amount, 27 times 2, and this answer, when you multiply and then add, you're going to have to multiply first to find these answers, and then you have to add those 2 answers together to get this answer. Then you will know if you have enough. You should have checked Math Journal page 161 and brought it to me with any questions that you may have had about anything you had wrong. And the final thing you're going to do for this lesson is Math Masters page 197. This is what it reads. Solve the number story on this screen and the next one. Remember to use a different strategy for each one. The park department wants to have new trees planted. They agreed that 1/10 of the trees will be oak, 3/10 will be pine, and 2/10 will be willow. They are undecided about the rest. What fractions of the trees will be oak, willow, or pine? So remember, you can draw this and write a number model. Make sure that you're labeling it for D, what the units are. And the units are going to be all 3 trees, oaks, willows, and pines. Finish this page, please. When you are done, I would like you to bring it over to me so that I can correct it. And then you are done with lesson 5.3. Thank you.